Salute, comrades. This is Behind the Walls Talk with your founder, William McCallum, and I thank you for visiting this domain. I'm here to give you an insight into the minds and hearts of those incarcerated that have been deemed voiceless. Well, this is where their voice and stories will be told for those of you who are concerned with human beings that are in prison for the mistakes they have made and for some of the injustices that were committed against them. Resolutions for reform is the goal and objective looking to be attained. Now step into our world. Welcome to Behind the Walls Talk with your host, William McCallum. It's my pleasure and honor today to be here and conduct this interview with this good brother that I've known for so long, since the beginning of my bid on this episode. So without further ado, tell the listeners, my brother, your name and where are you from?
Yeah, my name is Anthony Johnson.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
Yeah, my name is Anthony Johnson. I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina.
And what were you charged with? How much time did they give you at?
Yeah, I was originally charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, which eventually got changed to second-degree murder, and I was sentenced to 552 to 638 months, which is like 44 to 54 years.
Okay, from my understanding, you had your sentence overturned, right?
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
It wasn't necessarily overturned. It was after some laws had changed. They had determined that my sentence was illegal, and it violated the Eighth Amendment and cruel and unusual punishment. So they ended up giving me a chance for parole through the Juvenile Sentencing Review Board.
How old were you when you were charged?
17.
17 years old. How long have you now been incarcerated?
21 years and 2 months.
Okay, we were speaking the other day and everything. You were mentioning the laws and everything that was passed that enabled you to have your sentence changed. Could you give me a little bit of elaboration on those laws that were brought about that gave you some relief in your sentence?
Yeah, well, first, they changed the law for juveniles with life without parole, and they had changed it, whereas if you had life without parole, it was deemed unconstitutional, including unusual punishment. So they went back and said that if the juvenile had life, they would have life with parole. So they was going home after 20 to 25 years. But being that I didn't have life, I didn't fit the criteria for it. So I had a lawyer go, he filed for MAR for the same thing because, you know, the person with a worse sentence was getting out before I was, and I had a lesser crime. So we ended up challenging it. For a few years, he got shot down. It kept getting shot down. They wasn't giving us no play. But then a white kid, his name James Kelleher, and he ended up going for the exact same thing I was going for, and they let him go back, and they made it a landmark case. So we all just followed behind him, and we got the same situation.
Man, that's something, man. It took for this white kid to get in trouble and commit the crime that he committed in order for y'all to get the law changed because they looked to overturn his case, change his sentence, so they had to change everybody else's sentence and following, right?
Yeah, only if you could get a lawyer to get you in front of a judge, because there's still a lot of kids in here that's been in here since they was kids who haven't got no play. It's not because they're not eligible. It's because they don't have no attorney to take them in front of a judge.
So what is the steps? So what is it that they need to do?
They would have to, first and foremost, they would have to contact some type of attorney. I know North Carolina Prison Legal Services is one route, but if they don't have the money to get their family to get an attorney, they will still have to file a motion for appropriate relief under the same guidelines and use a landmark case, which is State versus Connor and State versus Kelleher. And both of those cases are landmark cases that anybody with the circumstances that they had can fall under the guidelines and get released or get released up under those cases.
You know, when they gave us prison legal services, that was for us. So they took away the law library, so therefore they gave us prison legal services. So prison legal services is supposed to be working for us. So if prison legal services know that they have this landmark decision case, then why isn't prison legal services seeking out these kids that they know that were locked up and just send them memos and letting them know that for them to reach out to them and so therefore they can proceed with helping these guys get out of prison?
I mean, because, you said it yourself. North Carolina Prison Legal Service is supposed to be working for us. But to me, it seemed like they working with the state because, like I said, I was filing these same motions and these same arguments with North Carolina Prison Legal Services since 2017. And like I said, they was telling me these cases don't apply. This is not the law of North Carolina, blah, 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 for all of these years until the white kid, James Kelleher, went in front of the judge, and then they accepted his motion, and I had to follow his case.
So it is really looking like prison legal services have some biasness about themselves, right?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
And they're not really for the people. They're really for themselves and the state.
That's what it looked like to me. Because at the end of the day,
with the prison legal service. Because myself, I
filed
with prison legal services one time, and they said that they only take cases that are.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
They said that they only take cases that are for sure winners. And I said, what type of mess is that? I said, so you don't take cases the way you feel as if it has the potential to win, but you just want to take it because you know that it's going to win? I said, that's not right.
And the thing about a landmark case is that's being the first case that was accepted into law, which means that if anybody comes and can prove legitimately that
this call is from a North Carolina correctional facility,
any of their constitutional rights being violated, they're supposed to take it back to court. But the thing is, they kind of pick and choose, because I can't have an argument that's legit and I can prove that it violates my constitutional rights, and then they turn it down saying that it's not law. But that's how laws get made. You got to start somewhere. So, like you said, it's their bias, and then they staff attorneys there. It seems like they only work for certain individuals or certain situations. But they're supposed to fight for you. If you can prove because by law, a constitutional violation can be challenged at any time. And the federal law was saying that life was anything over 40 years, period. And that's federal law. And that's been federal law. So once I challenged it, I was challenging under a de facto life sentence. Even though it's not life without parole, it's still a de facto life sentence. And they were turning it down until that case went through. So it's kind of weird.
So where are you at right now with your case?
So I got approved to be released through the Juvenile Sentencing Review Board. So I should be getting released in between February and June of next year.
February and June of next year.
Yeah.
That's good, man. That's real good, bro. You know what I'm saying? What have your experience in prison been like so far?
Man, where do I start? I came in so young, man. It's kind of like,
yeah.
It's like the years that I was supposed to be learning how to be a grown man, it was like replaced with like straight violence from being in here. You know what I'm saying? To the point where it's not even an option. You know what I mean? You come in here, you young, and they put you on adult spread because I got a violent crime, so they put me on adult spread with the grown men. And I'm around so much stuff that you couldn't even begin to understand and how to adapt. And then they got, like, the SRG situation. Once they SRG you, then you don't have no opportunities. Like, you end up losing your visits and you lose your phone privileges, and you can't put certain people on your visitation list. So you kind of lose contact with the outside world. So you kind of end up getting caught up in this. And like I said, I was young, so it was different levels to my incarceration because eventually, you know, I went through the struggles and the trouble and the pain and all that shit. And then eventually I grew up and I became aware of what was going on. So I realized that the only way for my circumstances to change, I had to change myself first. So I ended up, you know, rising up.
Have you took any self-help classes or anything that can help you out with your rehabilitation, the process that you was taking to get back in the court?
Yeah, I've completed over 25 classes and different trade classes, educational programs. You know what I'm saying? I've done all of everywhere I go, I complete the classes that they got on that camp. And right now, I'm currently in commercial cleaning. That's one of the last ones that I haven't took since I've been down. Everything else I've completed and got a certificate in since I've been in here.
Okay, so you've been very active and very productive. That's good. That's real good, man. I applaud you for that, bro. That's real good. Let me ask you a question. Now, I want to go back to when you were sentenced at this young age. When you were sentenced at this young age, what were the feelings that ran through you whenever the judge said that you were guilty? What was the feelings? I mean, what was that experience like for you?
I mean, to be honest, I didn't even understand. You know, it took me a few years after I was in prison to even understand what was going on. I hadn't even really understood what I had done as far as my crime. Like, I mean, I know what it was, and I know it was a murder and whatever, but, you know, when you're young and they just throw you in, there's no counselors, there's nobody talking about it, there's really no family support. You know, they just like, yo, he done messed up, he in jail. So by the time I go to trial, the judge was really like, she was feeling, at first, the DA was saying that I was remorseful because I wasn't showing no sign of emotion. But I didn't even know what to feel. I was more scared for my own life. You know what I'm saying?
You have 60 seconds remaining.
To be honest, I didn't even get it. But once I was sentenced and I seen how it hurt my family, you know what I mean? But as soon as I'm sentenced, I'm going straight to prison, and I'm going to the youth spread and straight to the adult spread. Time's going by so fast, I'm not even having time to sit down and think about what's going on.
Hey, man, this is a great interview. Hey, I want you to
You
call
have
back.
30 seconds remaining.
Behind the Walls Talk will continue. Back to Behind the Walls Talk, my brother Anthony Johnson. Hey, let me ask you something, bro. You know, you were speaking on the experience that you had, and you said that you really didn't understand what was going on when you were sentenced. So when you finally did realize and understand what was going on, what did you feel after that? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm pretty sure that you had to have an understanding of the drive that it's going to take for you to get out of here. And
this call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
Where did that drive begin at?
I mean, first, I came to understand that where I was at, you know, it's like a state of awareness in prison around a bunch of people that's dealing with some of the same trauma. You know what I mean? So what I had to do, being basically raised up around some of the most traumatized people in society, was realize that I wanted better for my life. You know what I'm saying? I wanted more. And I was in a hole one time. I think I was doing like a year in a hole. I got caught with a phone. And while I was in a hole for the phone, I got caught with another phone. And I realized that I can't keep making excuses for myself. You know what I'm saying? And just because I had been through what I had been through, I wasn't born in this world to be an evil person or a bad person. And
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
And I started asking myself questions like, what was I going to do to make my situation better? Or how could I do something to try to get out of here? Because nobody want to help you getting in trouble when you ain't doing the right thing. Even having a female in your life, she don't want to deal with you if you constantly in the hole. You can't call home. She can't come see you because you get in trouble or whatever. So with that being said, I realized that I needed to get on the right path. And I started studying the law. I started writing to Georgetown Law School, and I had it was a student up there. I never forget her name. Her name Kimberly Day, and I was writing her, and she was telling me about all the juvenile laws that was going on in the United States. And the first case was a case out of Iowa, and there was a girl. She had caught like 52 years, and she was trying to get back out. And she didn't even have a murder charge. She had a bunch of robbery charges, but they had boxcarred her sentencing. And I started with her case, and I went from there. Like I said, at the end of the day, you don't really realize what you miss when you're that young because you don't have a sense of responsibility. You know what I mean? I didn't have no house. I didn't have no cars. I had a son, but at the same time, I was just young. So you don't miss it. You don't think, like, I got to be there to do this or I got to be there to do that. And once I realized that my son was growing up, now he was talking, he was playing sports, and he was telling me he had beat me in basketball. And, like, when I left, he couldn't even talk. He was doing pampers. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, I got to fight. And I just kept writing. And then I had got in a position where I ended up having the finance to get an attorney. And you know how they go. The first couple attorneys I got, they sold me dreams, took my money. I kept on having to start over, but eventually I got it right.
Good, bro. Hey, let me what's your son's name, man?
Oh, yeah, my son named Kamari.
Kamari. Hey, what would you like to say to Kamari right now, man?
Man, basically the same thing, man. Yeah, I mean, he's so smart. Man. He did so good. I'm so proud of him. Like, he's working right now selling foreign currency. He's doing a foreign currency exchange right now. He's doing good. He's 23. He graduated high school, and he went to St. John's College. So the only thing I can tell him is I'm proud of him.
That's what's up, man. That's good, man. And it's good that, you know, he didn't follow that stigma, those statistics that everybody always speak about, you know, father, son, all of them ended up in prison following that cycle, you know. And it's good that he was raised right, regardless of you not being there, you know. And that's another thing that I want to ask you too, like, how, you know, what was it, you know, by you not being there, how did that affect you during your time?
I once again, I gotta say, because his errors, like when you've been gone as young as I wasn't, as long as I've been gone, you know, in the beginning, it affected me in a negative way. But as I got older, like, I know people say people following the footsteps of their dad or whatever, but personally, I wasn't born a bad person. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't put here on this earth to be a bad person. I just made a mistake. And everybody make mistakes. Just the mistake that I made was a big mistake. And it's lasted for a long time. But ultimately, I'm not a bad person. So if he did follow in my footsteps, you know, when I look at him now, I know I could have been, that's what I could have been if I didn't make that mistake. So I kind of look at it a little different than everybody else. It's not necessarily about him. He might have did follow in my footsteps. You know what I mean? I just got off the course somewhere along the way. But, and it's different. But the number one thing is he was always on my mind. He was my number one priority, and he was always number one in my life. And as much as I could, under the circumstances, everything that I could do under the current circumstances of me being in here, I've done. And I've always been a positive influence and had a positive impact on him.
So what's your story on how you grew up as a youth?
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
I mean, if just to be honest, it was bad. I mean, I look at it like I was poisoned by my upbringing and environment because my pop wasn't around. You know what I'm saying? And my mom was there, but it wasn't no structure. You know what I mean? I was exposed to a lot at a real young age, like violence and drugs. It was just like free will to all of that with no guidance. But still, I went to school because I really liked the school because the girls and I liked to play sports. I was always involved in school, but
Yeah.
you know, it's a mistake. You know what I'm saying? When you can make a mistake and like just like that, and it can have an effect on the rest of your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was kind of had a free will. I had brothers and sisters, and my mom, she was a single.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
And she worked and really didn't pay a lot of attention to us. And I'm really kind of like the black sheep because none of my brothers and sisters never got in trouble. It was just me.
Yeah. Hey man, I definitely understand. Like, you know, the choices and decisions you make will determine where you will be at tomorrow. And you know, that's one thing that the youth really don't understand. And that's one thing that they have to understand. That every choice and decision they make is crucial to their future. And so with that said, man, I'd like to ask you, like, what is it that you would like to say to the youth out there now that are being misled and find the life of crime intriguing?
Yeah, basically the same thing, man. Life is about choices. You know what I'm saying? And one bad choice can cost you the rest of your life. So they got to be smart and respect their parents, respect their teachers, and anybody that's positive in the community. And I know a lot of them listen to music and see the fairy tale and fiction lifestyles that all of these celebrities and rappers live, but them rappers, they make those songs, and I hate music because music is the most negative influence on our youth these days, because these rappers, after they make those videos and those songs, they go home to their mansions. They're not really going to no hoods and spinning and shooting and the shit that they're talking about in their songs that them little kids, the youth out there is soaking up and emulating. You know what I'm saying? So if I could say anything, basically stay in school, get your education, because with the proper education and commitment, you can achieve anything in this world. And even if you headed the wrong way, you got to get off that path, man, because so much more in this world you can do. And this prison and jail and this lifestyle of life of crime, it don't do nothing but take from you. You know, it take from your family, it take from everything. There's nothing good about this. You know what I mean? So basically, be smart. Make good decisions, and whatever type of energy you put out there is the type of energy you get back. So if you want success, you want production, and you want a positive result in your day-to-day life, then that's the type of energy you got to put out there. You got to be positive, and you got to be respectful, and things like that. Basically it.
That's right, man. You definitely got to be positive, man. Like you said just now, the energy you put out there is the energy you're gonna get back, man. And like what you were speaking about as well, when you were speaking about the entertainers and these artists out there that we listen to, and that these kids that look up to them and they admire them, and you know, they're exploiting us. They're exploiting our youth.
Yeah.
They're exploiting the hardcore truth. You know, because it's really false. It's a false narrative that they're painting for us. They're painting for the youth. You know, and so our youth really have to realize that and understand that the media is just put out there to, you know, to destroy us and to keep us at a level to where, yeah, like I was saying, I apologize for the inconvenience, and Behind the Walls Talk is back. Yeah, I was thinking about how the music they do exploit our youth. You know, and it's sad because they feed them a false narrative. And that's something that we have to teach our youth and everything not to follow. But I want to ask you another question, my brother. Like, have you had to deal with the death of any loved ones or family or friends since you've been incarcerated?
Unfortunately, I haven't lost nobody since I've been gone. Besides my great granddad, he was like 104 years old. That was the only person.
So you'll be able to go home to everybody, and you'll be able to enjoy the time with them and spend with them and be there with them, man. So, and that leads to my next question. Like, what does a second chance in society mean to you? Like, getting back out there and being able to live your life with your family and your loved ones and your friends and them. What does
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
What does that mean to you?
I mean, the second chance to me, or a second chance to me, would be something that I feel like I gave myself. You know what I'm saying? Because personally, I don't feel like they're giving me a second chance, because for them to let me go due to a violation of the law, I don't feel like that's a second chance. I feel like it's a mistake that they've done because of their negligence, or them not taking into consideration how teenagers are different from adults when it comes to sentencing them. So the second chance, I feel like it'll come for myself, for a second chance for me to get my life together and to prove myself to myself and to my family, you know what I mean, and show my family that I changed for the better and didn't waste my time in here. That's why I took so many classes and programs, so that I have numerous opportunities when I go out there. If I have to work or find a job or employment, it won't be like I'm limited to certain things, because I've sat in here and not done nothing with my time. And I have a chance to be a positive, productive citizen, husband and a father, for the most part. To go out there with my fiance, get married, and give her some of the love back that she done gave me, holding me down, dealing with all my BS, you know. Besides that.
Hey, what's your fiance's name?
Lakika.
So,
Lakika.
Well, is there anything that you would like to say to her for all her support for you, her riding with you, being by your side? Is there anything that you would like to say to her right now?
Yeah, man. She been my rock. You know what I mean? She's the most solid person in my life. You know what I mean? She keep me grounded. She makes sure I'm focused on being positive and productive at all times. There's no room for error. She don't go for no BS. You know, she stay on top of me. Like, if I could say something to her, I mean, besides I love you, beautiful, and we all we need. As long as we got each other, we can do anything in this world.
Yeah, we definitely need them rocks, man. Them rocks is what gives us that stability, like you say, staying out of trouble and everything, man, and being progressive and being productive instead of getting in trouble all the time and going to the hole and losing our privileges and doing this. You know, it helps them out, you know what I'm saying, with their mental health as well as our mental health, and we all come together and everything is love.
That's a fact.
I definitely understand that, man. Hey, this was a wonderful interview, man. Is there any last words you would like to share with the listeners to Behind the Walls Talk?
Yeah, man. First and foremost, thank you and your wife for making it possible and having a platform that we can speak on and tell our stories. You know what I'm saying? Because it's very rare that things like this get to happen. And they need to pay attention. The world need to pay attention that nothing in here is what it seems. They not helping. They're not helping us. We having to fight for help every day. And any awareness to this situation, it need to be brought to the situation, because, like I said, it's a dark place. It's dark. It's a bunch of drugs, violence, and things going on in here that put people in bad positions. So upon release, You got people coming here and they get caught up in it, and then they're released straight back out society with no rehabilitation or nothing. And then
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
they end up coming right back because the state ain't got no programs or nothing that puts them in that type of position. So, anybody ever get a chance to look into it or advocate for any kind of prison rehabilitation program, do it. It'll be helpful. That's about it.
That's it, man. Yo, I appreciate this interview with you, man. It was a very wonderful interview. I'm sure my wife loved it, and I'm sure the listeners out there Behind the Walls Talk, they love it too as well. And, man, I appreciate your energy, man. It was very beautiful, man. It was very enlightening, and it was very educating too as well. Because, what you were speaking about when it came to the youth and the laws that was passed and with what prison legal services are not doing on behalf of the population in the prison, and what the youth and the things that the youth need to do that were incarcerated in their time and that's grown now, what they need to do too as well. If the listeners out there, if they have family and loved ones that's listening to this, and you know that your family and loved one that's incarcerated was locked up as a youth and he doesn't have any type of support, please support him. Please guide him and let him know that he can receive some relief. The only thing he has to do is reach out and get him a lawyer and do everything that you can, because it's a fight. It's a fight, and it's a determined fight. And you have to be determined, you have to be dedicated, and you have to be disciplined upon it. Just like my brother Anthony Johnson, man. I appreciate you, brother, and I applaud you for everything that you did for yourself.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
No doubt, man. I appreciate you.
For others. Yeah, man, I'm going to always be here for you, bro. You and everybody else, man. You know what I'm saying? This is our fight, man. It's Behind the Walls Talk, man. And with that said, man, peace.
Peace, man. Keep up the good fight.